Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Stallions Run. I'm, of course, your host, Buck, with Scout, as always. So as talking before, a lot of news when it comes to player signings within the Birmingham Stallions organization and the UFL itself. Scout, are you ready to go and talk about the free agency signings we had throughout the past week?
Oh, for sure. I think the biggest one and the one that everybody was talking about was Slade Bolden. Obviously, I don't think there's a lot, or obviously a lot of people know a lot about him. He played at Alabama for a long time. He won, I believe it was one
The 2020 National
championship.
Championship, 2020.
Yep. And he played slot a lot. Then he bounced around. I see he went to the Ravens, the Falcons, and now he's on the Stallions.
Hmm.
But decent guy, kind of undersized. I thought it was very intriguing that he is from Louisiana, so that gives us another Louisiana Mississippi player. It's like almost all of our roster is from that area. But yeah, but good good ball player in my opinion. I like the pickup. Uh, and yeah, and then we also, or do you want me to wait on the trade or just go straight in the trade?
Oh no, yeah. So we got some more free agency picks to talk about. So,
Oh, for sure.
I mean, so first off, of course, Slade Bolden. He was the pick that we were kind of teasing. Excuse me, not pick, but the free agent that was we teased on here last week. The news kind of leaked out to reporters on Tuesday night. We of course record on Tuesdays, so we did know who it was. Then he dropped the news officially on Wednesday, and then of course you know the list that came out with the rest of the players on Friday. So now let's talk about some of those besides Bolden. Of course, Kevin Austin, wide receiver for Notre Dame. Deontay Brown, O-line Alabama. That was another kind of name that band fans picked on up real quick.
Mhm.
Owen Carney, defensive line from Illinois. Carlos Davis, a name that we'll kind of get to in a second for Steins fans. Defensive line from Nebraska. Here's one, Scout, offensively. Old school SEC fans. Well, let me not say old school, but SEC fans who follow those not so great Missouri teams, but who had some great players on them. Uh, this is a name you'll remember: Larry Rountree the third from Missouri. Of course, the running back. Uh, Basically, was the shining star of some of those not so great Missouri teams of the late 2010s. What's your thoughts on him joining the Steins organization after some NFL kind of practice squad and kind of second string positions, now coming to the UFL with Birmingham?
Yeah, so I'm glad that we got him. I'm so mad that I was so close because like I know I said publicly in our group chat that I thought it was gonna be Tyler Beatty because looking at our needs, looking at like former Missouri players. But hey, Larry Rountree is also very good. Obviously a little bit older, but hey, it's the USFL. Like we're trying to make these kids like go back to the league. But yeah, but I think Roundtree would be very, very nice. His biggest stint in the NFL was with the Chargers. Obviously Missouri before that. I think that he could fit a role similar to that of Zaquandre White. Obviously, I don't think that we have to cut down 20 players after we fill our camp roster.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he would be a similar player or one that's in competition with like Zaquandre White or, one of those more power back, I guess. But yeah, but I do like the pickup. He's a great player. I have like I have a little bias to players that wear arm sleeves, and he's a player that wears an arm sleeve. So, but yeah, but I think also he could be a great fullback, like in a lighter set, like if we didn't have to have Bobby in there for something. Because I think we
Mm-hmm.
might start incorporating more two back sets or something of that sort. But yeah, but solid player. I'm glad that we got him on our team. Glad he's not on another team. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, so then there's an interesting question Steins fans are trying to ask. We're reaching the point where camp is a little under a month away now
Mhm,
in Arlington. We got to start thinking about cut downs. So
mhm,
right now the team is I could be wrong, but this is our fourth running back. The team is currently when it comes to our running back room. CJ Marble, of course, he was one of the protected players. In fact, the only protected running back. Then we have Zaquandre White, Bo Scarborough, and then now you have the condition of Larry. There's starting to be some serious questions of who do you think is going to be the one player that's cut. Personally, I hate saying this, but at the same time, I'm real. It's kind of like maybe they find a scenario to keep, these four guys in case there's any injuries like last season. But man, I was starting to wonder this offense against Bo. I think he would still be a great running back to have in the room. But I'm just looking at the numbers. Man, I was starting to think there's a possibility we could see him not make an appearance, at least for the first bit of the season until there's an injury as a Stallion.
Yeah, you could also see one be on the practice squad or something along those lines. I think CJ is definitely in. I think if we're putting it out to not just halfbacks but fullbacks as well, I think Bobby's definitely in. I do think Bo would have to compete for his spot. I'm not sure. I assume there's a little bias because, he knows the offense, he knows all the plays. Um, Z's a tough one. I think Z would. I think it basically comes down to Z and Laird and who would be the best of those two. Um, but I do see what you're saying with Bo. Like if his injuries problems flare up in camp, I think that's like a goner. But I do think I think CJ is gonna be our main running back, especially because he's a receiving back or like a running back that has great hands. I know some people
Mm.
don't like the term receiving back, but yeah, I think it'll be nice though. I do think we have one of the best, no matter who we take, one of the best halfbacks or backs in the league. Just like top to bottom. There's not a lot of teams that can compete. Maybe Memphis, but for the most part, not a lot of teams can compete. So
Yeah, I gotta completely agree with that. Just I don't know. I think the running back room is going to see a lot of cut down. I'm not. I'm just. Well, let me take that back. Not a lot, but at the same time, there's going to be cuts. I think, and it's not going to be fun when that happens. So then next we do have a couple more. Mark Gilbert, defensive back from
mm,
Duke. That's one that a lot of fans are happy about. Then you have Josh Skoll from Sacred Heart, offensive lineman, and then Jordan Thomas, wide receiver from Mississippi State.
yeah.
I want to actually circle back to Carlos Davis. So, real quick, everything Nebraska, Davis. Is this someone related to Khalid Davis? Yes, it's his twin brother.
The
That Carlos Davis is his twin. We actually signed him earlier in the season. Got then he for some reason decided to leave the team, but he is now back as a free agent signing. What's your thoughts on maybe this is a sign? I don't know now because of how well Glee has been playing in the NFL with the Houston Texans, who just had their season ended by Baltimore. But I guess kind of your thoughts on a potential, at least kind of a weird scenario where we've had one player play for the team and then the next season his twin decides to play for the team also.
Yeah, so the thing I remember about Carlos, because I was the one that put the Khalil Davis tweet out whenever he got signed to the Texans. Carlos actually got signed by the Falcons, and that's why he had left the Stallions. Um,
Ah,
and but with all that, I think the whole time, especially knowing, and I said this beforehand, but knowing Zach Potter's like Nebraska heritage and Nebraska ties, I think we definitely wanted to bring at least one Nebraska player back on, back.
yeah.
And I think again, there's a love for Khalil Davis there. Like obviously he was a great player for us. Obviously he's doing very well for the Texans. I assume he'll get a very nice deal this offseason with the Texans.
Mhm.
But yeah, but I think he's a great player, obviously, right? He's played for the Steelers before. Obviously, just got signed by the Falcons. Um, but yeah, but I think this is an opportunity for him to shine, and I think that he sees that, hey, my brother did this, I can do it too, and I do think he'll be up there. I think he'll be great. Like
Mm.
I think he'll fill that same kind of void that was left behind. And then you're talking about Mark Gilbert as another player where I didn't even think that we would get Mark Gilbert. Like
Yeah.
because there's a few players on the UFL rosters this season that I thought for sure would have been bound for like a longer NFL tenure. Because Gilbert was a Mauler last year, and he was
Hmm.
a Dolphin this for was it might have been just training camp. Yeah, he went on the
I think he was maybe
IR.
practice squad for a bit.
Yeah. So he actually did. He got signed to the camp roster, then he went on the IR. But good player, and all things considered, he's 6'1". He's definitely a stockier corner to some of the other corners in the league. But yeah, I thought it was a really nice pickup, and I thought that it just did really well for us. And,
Mm.
but,
All right. Well, then, are you excited to talk about the kind of the first in the UFL
yeah,
that Birmingham was involved with?
yeah. Fun thing with
So,
this,
go ahead.
so Elijah Holder got traded from us to the. Actually, yeah, you just talk about the trade. I forgot who we
Elijah
traded
Holder
with.
was traded to the San Antonio Brahmas for Bubba Bolden.
Yes.
Uh, so Elijah Holder goes to San Antonio. We get Bubba Bolden from Miami, Florida. Um, um, I'm not a fan of this trade.
Mm,
I'll be perfectly honest. I know. No, again, this is just me, the armchair analysis kind of thing.
yeah.
I think we should have kept on to Holder. I'm not sure. Maybe he asked for a trade. Maybe he want to go to San Antonio. If so, that's his wishes. But man, at the same time, it's like I want to see him play as a Stallion. I don't, you know, Bolden. When we say Bubba Bolden, I think it's going to be interesting to see him play on the Stallions. But it's like, want to hold on to Holden. That's the thing. I don't
Mm.
want to lose Holden. So, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this was one of those where I was just like, I was very confused with the whole thing. Uh, I did not personally like I thought it was a confusing pick in the second round of the draft from us. I know like he played
Mm,
out in 2022 with the Gamblers, but and he was also with the Sea Dragons in 2023. But obviously I know we were flipped on that. But I think it's like a net zero trade for me, if you know what I mean. Like we're trading one
mm,
corner for another. And obviously they're different play styles and everything, but it's like I don't know. Like I thought it was gonna be because Potter hyped it up, everybody jumped on it, and then it was like a very and I think in the grand scheme of things, not a huge trade. Now I could be totally wrong, butterfly effect. This could make tons of things move, but um I think more than anything, it's just like, hey, we have trades now. People should trade. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like there will
mm,
probably be more trades now, but this one was just confusing. Now I did look up Bubba Bolton more, and I do think that he will fit in the defense somewhere.
mm,
But I think like Elijah Holder would have too, and now we have like uh, I know a lot of people had said that Bubba Bolden plays more, box safety, which I think might fill like Nate Hawley's void, but then Elijah Holder would play more corner, nickel corner, which leaves a void there. So it was, you know, like I'm excited that Bubba's on our team. Wish Elijah the best, but it's one of those where I'm like, you gotta show me, right? Like
yeah,
you gotta show me that this trade made sense in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah, I agree. All right. So, last thing, there's no other player news, but when do you think the schedule is going to be out? I personally thought it was going to be out the yesterday for us, which was Monday. So when do you think the schedule is going to be coming out? Because we're kind of quickly rocketing towards March 30th when the Stallions will be kicking off against Arlington in Arlington. I guess. Do you think it's possibly the 29th, which is another Monday, or do you think maybe they're going to wait until February to drop the schedule?
okay. I was thinking about this earlier. So this weekend is the conference championship games, right?
Yeah.
I think that they're gonna drop them around that time, because there's more. I don't think any of because who has the Super Bowl this year? Which
It
one?
is Las Vegas,
No, I mean, TV, like which network?
NBC.
Yeah, but it's like if it was on Fox or if it was on ESPN, then it would be like a bigger thing, right? Or like it would be a bigger thing
Yeah.
to promote that off of. But I think with it being on NBC, who aren't they out of the contract currently?
Yes, they are. So the right
Yes.
as we know right now, there could be kind of a a broadcast schedule scheduling error kind of thing or difference. It's
Yeah.
going to be Fox Sports 1, Fox, of course, itself, ESPN, and ABC.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying AFC Conference Championship games and NFC Conference Championship games we'll probably see more, especially, and this is where my tinfoil hat comes on. The AFC Conference Championship game is in Baltimore, Maryland, which is really close to DC.
Well, here, I'm going to stop you there. The AFC Championship games can be aired on CBS,
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, I'm
but
just saying.
the NFC Championship game is aired on Fox.
Okay. I swore the AFC was going to be on ESPN this week.
NFC
Anyways.
Fox, AFC CBS. It's always that.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, God. I know these things, and it's like you turn the camera on, and I don't know them anymore. Anyways, but yeah, but I was thinking more location wise, because like I feel like with like a lot of these, it's based off of like there's gonna be a lot of people in Baltimore area in the DMV, as they call themselves, that are watching that game. So they might pay the extra dollar to get their brand.
An advertisement for the schedule? No,
Well, not advertising for like the
no.
schedule, but just advertising, hey, the DC Defenders.
Okay, yeah,
But
that makes more sense.
but yeah, but
But
I think
I
the
personally
schedule
think.
will probably
Go ahead.
the schedule will probably just like be randomly released. Like I assume that it'll be because like the EA Sports college football thing, right? We thought it was gonna be the day of the college football national championship game, and then it's like 2 weeks later, and we're like, huh? We don't know anything. So I think it's just
Yeah.
one of those things where you're throwing darts at the board. Like, hey, it could be this day. Hey, it could be that day. So
Mm. Well, still, we do kind of know. We do know one schedule technically a little bit. We do know the St. Louis home days because they got leaked because of parking. And they're going to be playing majority on Saturdays. So that leaves some slots open for Birmingham. So, all right. Well, I think that'll be it for this week's edition of Science Run. Scout, where can people find you?
yeah, so at Scout USFL and then at Southern Charm SP is my main page. And then yeah.
All
Uh
right, and you can find me at Stallions UFM. All right, we'll see you guys next week.